Hi there, welcome to the Bridge Podcast, sharing with you top tips and advice from top employers to help to guide you on a job hunting and career journey. My name is Ajis Ragazi. I have several roles in digital marketing, and in today's special episode, I'm here to talk about switching careers to the mystifying world of software engineering. Today, I also have exciting news for you. I have Justin Lee, who is a co founder of a Metacamp as well as a blockchain developer at Hosite. Hi, welcome, Justin. How are you?
Hey man, doing good, doing good. How's it going?
I'm very excited actually to talk to you, especially because we'll talk about your career experience. So, yeah, to get us started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Okay, so I'm Justin. When I wrote something really interesting is I wrote my first line of code 1 year ago. So 1 year ago, during the pandemic, before I made this career switch, I was a fitness trainer for about 7 to 8 years. So I was in the fitness industry, training people. I don't know anything about coding, don't know anything about blockchain, don't know anything about like tech. So when the pandemic happened, my business took a big hit. I decided to look at alternative. So tech has always had that kind of like glamorous branding,
Right.
it's interesting, right? Like with all the it's glamour. So I decided to explore, take a look. So I decided to sign up for a coding boot camp. So I signed up for General Assembly. I did that 3 months software engineering. So basically, I learned how to code I code every day for 3 months. And after that 3 months of learning, I decided to join them as a teaching assistant for 3 months. So that sort of reinforced what I learned. After after that 3 months, I got a job as a software engineer with an AI startup. So I was with them for about 5 months. Then I got a job as a blockchain engineer with Hogside. So that is where I am right now. So yeah, I think later on we can go on the details of like what happened throughout, but that's sort of like the TLDR of what happened.
Cool, awesome. Let's take a little bit of moment back to your title of the coding work. Speaking of software engineering, can you share with us how did you come here? Like, what are the things that made you jump into the IT, and how was the decision process back then?
Okay, so it was definitely a push factor because I need to find an alternative. Well, I was sort of getting by with my fitness training, but it's not something that I see myself doing in the next few years due to the pandemic. There's a lot of restriction because I specialize a lot more in group training where I train like 15 to 20 people all at the same time. So that was not possible due to the regulation. So I need to find alternative. So there were a few other options. I was thinking, okay, maybe I should go back to school, get a degree in physiotherapy, and become a physiotherapist, or
Right.
step into health, things like that. But then I came across an ad, I think, and I was like, why not? So my personality is that I don't really think that much. I'm sort of a do and think kind of person. So I'll just, if I make any decision, I'll just go ahead and give it a shot. Yeah, and it turns out really well. So here I am.
Right. So you made like a change in your life and your career decision and bridging from training experience into the IT world. Is this something that you would imagine back then?
No, I've never thought of that I'll be in the software engineering space because previously I was interested in it because it looks really interesting, but I always felt that you need to have like a computer science degree, you need to have you need to be really smart.
Right.
Um when I was young, I wasn't I didn't do very well in school. So I was usually in the bottom of the class, bottom of cohort, like not even in the class. Like my class was the bottom of the entire level, and then like I was like one of the really not I didn't really study well. So yeah, it was not something that I would ever thought that I'll be doing. But yeah, I guess I took the shot, and surprisingly, I guess it's just the demand, right? There's such a high demand in software engineering, and just the lack of supply. And yeah, surprisingly, yes, you do learn a lot in CS, but I think in short-term courses, like either like a 3 months to 6 month course, you sort of learn the more practical things. You learn things that are immediate, that are really useful, they are really practical. They sort of just remove all the uh, more technical part. It can be a problem because if you want to learn a certain deeper concept, it's going to be tougher for you because you do not have that foundation. But practically speaking, you can just build a website, a full stack application, back end, front end, database. That's fine. Within 3 months, that's enough time.
Right, cool. So you're now here at your career as both blockchain developer as well as the co-founder of MetaCamp. What's something that you're trying to pursue? Like, what is your mission?
I think like in life in general, I just want to make a positive change. That's probably one reason why I started to do fitness training as well. It's just that I can make a change in someone's life. So the reason why I started MetaCamp was because of so MetaCamp is a community of Solana developer. We are the largest the developer community in Singapore. So it's just a bunch of guys coming together, just a bunch of developer coming together and learn. We don't talk about prices, we don't talk about NFT. We are just coming together and talk about code base, what are accounts, how the state management work. It is really interesting dynamic for a Web3 meetup. Yeah, it's not normal. So how MetaCamp came about was I attended the Solana Hacker House. So 2 months into my software engineering job with the AI startup, a friend of mine, asked me to go for this blockchain event, and that was the first time I was exposed to blockchain. I do not know Ethereum, I don't know Solidity. He just asked me to go for this event. I was like, sure, why not? Went to the event, love it, and decided to try to explore, learn more about Solana development. But the problem is that because the technology is so new, we can't simply just Google the answer out, or we can't Stack Overflow an answer. So you have to actually read the code base to understand what's going on. So I feel that a community is really important. So I decided I grabbed another guy. So that's me and someone that I spoke to at the event. We went to a bar. It was like two guys went to a bar, order 2 beers, we flip out laptop, and we start talking about Rust code base, what's the key innovation of Solana, and just geeking it up. And it started as just 2 person in a bar, and it just grew and grew. And right now, we host this meetup every single Thursday. Average we have about 40 people joining us, mainly due to this limit of the space that we are using. But yeah, so yeah, I mean, long-winded. That's something about MetaCamp.
Wow, very awesome. So yeah, speaking more details about MetaCamp, it's something that related to Web3, of course, and it's something new, but also like, in a decent demand that not everyone is familiar with. What would you say to anyone out there who's interested in getting into the Web3?
Well, for me, it's just do it. Depending what's your reason, right? Like the money is definitely the money is better than a Web2 site. There's a high demand. One thing that I really love about Web3 is that because it's such a new technology, you can't find someone with like 10 years of experience because the technology is not even 10 years old. So right, this is something like really unique, and you can be pioneering this innovation, this movement. Yeah, I mean things are definitely tougher. We got a lot less resources. You can't simply YouTube and look at watch video. You have to really understand the code base to understand what's going on. I think it's tough, but it's if you're up for a challenge, this is something really interesting to explore.
Okay, cool. Now back to your career journey again. Let's talk about the time you found your professional experience. How do you get into the IT world? Like most employers want to see training or project courses or even full-time university degree.
Mm. Yeah, so I built a full stack application. So so I do have something to show for. It's just one full stack application. And I sent out over 100 resume. Of that 100, over 100, and I think about 18 got back to me. Of the 18, I think no, about 14 got back to me, and got about like, I think 7 to 9 offer. And then of that 7 to 9 offer, I just pick whichever one that I like the most. So I think it was a massive action. I don't pick which company I want. I just sort of like spray it out and then see what bites.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
But you do have to have some projects, right? So I think getting a first job is always the toughest. But once you are in, um, yeah, it gets easier afterwards.
Do you have a mentor or someone close who support or inspired you to do?
No, not really, because all my friends are in the fitness industry, or all my connections are all non-tech related. So
So it's like very
yeah,
new for you and like just like jump into the
yeah,
ocean. No one's know about.
exactly, exactly. Just dive to the deep end of the pool and
Yeah.
find a way to
Wow.
come out of it.
That must be very interesting because you don't know anyone in the industry, but you think that it's very interesting, very great branding. And I'm curious, what was the challenge and struggle back then for you?
I think it's always nice to have someone to talk to or someone that you can have as a mentor, right? Well, the good thing is that I joined a boot camp, so I do have a community of friends that
Mhm.
we are all in the same group together. We are all learning together. Yeah, so most of us are career switcher, so we are sort of in the same boat together. We will learn together. So I think being part of the community is very important. Ideally, the community have someone that's experienced, but in our case, we do not have anyone that's experienced. But that's fine. We just work with what we have,
Mhm.
and yeah, join the community. You can, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so you've joined with the General Assembly and within a community and you learn from there. What form did you mostly spend on your time about, learning software or the code work?
During the course, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
lessons and practical
right.
lesson coding.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of practical session, and less the classes are 9 to 5, and then because they are
Nine to
assignment
five.
every single day. Yeah, so it's like a normal full-time job, right? So 9 to 5, and after 6 o'clock, after six, after having like a quick bite, I would continue to code between like 6 to 10 or 6 to 11. Um, yeah, sometimes I will start around 8, depending if some days I do have some private training, so I have to continue to coach outside. But yeah, if I'm not coaching, I'm pretty much coding, just immersing myself in that world, and try to try to improve every single day. Yeah, it's just that day in day out, grind, and day in day out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
looking for it.
great.
Yeah.
So you went for it and you focus on, of course, like learning and improving, like you mentioned, but then you face the scary prospect of like actually finding a job because like a lot of people struggling to find a job in especially like something new, something that they're not familiar with. How did you find the job search back then? Like what is your first experience in the professional IT field?
I think at first it's a little bit tough. I'm not sure how. I feel that it's a lot tougher because of my background. Because my background is a little bit unique. I do not have any finance background. So for some friends, they have finance background. It's easier for them to get a finance, a
Right.
tech job in a finance. If they are in the Web3 space, it's a lot easier, because of their prior experience. For me, I'm fitness. Like, what the hell? What do I know? Right. So it is a lot trickier. I felt that, so I want to put that out because I don't have the exact numbers, right? But I felt that I was applying for a lot more jobs. And in terms of like getting the first interview was a lot tougher. So I feel that I have a higher failing rate after reviewing my resume. So, but after getting past that interview, usually I'm pretty okay with the technical side, but it was a lot tougher for me to just get an interview in. So, but I guess massive action, right? So just there's always a way around it. So just my way around it was just to send out a shit ton of uh, resume out
Yeah,
and see
yeah.
what I buy.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about your interview process, which is like you mentioned it's kind of like tough. What is the biggest challenge back then?
I think the interview was pretty okay. It was more like writing the resume down, because when you writing a resume, you want to like somehow share how does your prior job experience, how is it beneficial for your next job, right? I can't, it's really hard for me to think of something. Yeah, I mean, human relationship is one thing we can build, but it may not be something that's important in a software engineering role. So yeah, it is pretty um, tricky during the writing of drafting of resume. But once I got an interview, it's pretty okay. Like usually when you go for an interview, there's three stage, like three or more. There's definitely a culture fit, there's technical, and either just take home or just to meet up with your direct manager, or just an initial conversation. Yeah. So usually there isn't much issue once you manage to get the interview in lah. At
Right.
least for the junior software engineer position.
Do you have any tips or lessons that you've learned from facing the first interview process?
First interview first one I guess is just going to leak code. Just I think that's still the default, or that's still the standard way of technical technical assessment. They'll do live coding, or they'll ask you to solve a certain a challenge. After that first job, I think my second job and all the interviews I have after my first job was a lot more was a lot more like referral. As long as I think referral is more important at that point for networking. Build a very strong network. Um, yeah, because once you get your first job, I mean, I guess it's sort of a stamp that okay, this guy at least know what they are doing. If he can get the first job, he probably know what he's doing. So yeah.
Right. So you did your first engineering job and you succeed in getting the job and project that you were working on, and you are now blockchain developer at Housite. What are typical days look like for you?
Well, because I'm completely working remotely, so we are a completely remote team. We don't have office, so every single day, once I get up, we only have one stand up every single day. So at that point of time, we just hop on the Discord, have a team meeting. So basically, we just run down what we have done, what we're gonna do, what's the plan, when's the next sprint. Just sharing any challenges and accomplishment, and just get to work. One thing I really like about in the Web3 space is that I think remote working is sort of the norm now. Yeah, everyone just work remotely. Mm, and yeah, that being said, as long as you can get your job done, make sure you're able to deliver. Pretty much, the time is up to you on how you want to manage it.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Remote work is always beneficial somehow.
Yeah.
Is there any like surprising thing about your work?
I mean, apart from that shift from fitness to tech, right? So I feel that it's definitely a, a lot more. Okay, well, I don't think there's anything surprising, because to me, software engineering, everything is just logic, right? So when you do something, as when you give a certain input, you expect a certain output. What is surprising is when shit doesn't work. So, but then it's more of a more of a technical issue, which is also back to logic. So I don't think there's anything surprising. Uh, yeah, I guess you just need to the amount of things that you need to learn, and there's no way you can learn everything. So that might be oh, okay, surprising. So maybe um surprised at how fast anyone can be a software engineer.
How long it take you to be a software engineer? You mentioned it fast. Like for you, how long it takes for you to be the
So
professional? 3 months?
yeah,
Okay,
three
cool.
months of learning, 3 months of teaching, and then on my seventh month after learning teaching, then 7 months I got a job as a software engineer.
Wow, cool. Yeah, so
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's like you're very passionate about what you do, and then you work for it too. How do you keep up with the developer as well as the development of the Web3 world that is like constantly changing? Like how you keep that on a daily basis?
I think big specialization is very important. When I say specialized, I don't mean like it will depend on what kind of depth you want to go, right? But if we talk about Web3, pick a network and try to be really good at it. For me, I chose to be in Solana. So if you choose to focus on Ethereum, then try not to hop around because there's always some other shiny thing that's like, hey, Near is coming, a Polygon is coming, Solana, or like whatever network that's coming up. Focus on one, really understand it, and because of how fast it's changing, if you're out for about 2-3 months, certain version has increased, certain things might have changed. So I think it's important for us to get really good at a certain area. And then if you really want to specialize, then look into, do you want to specialize in like NFT or DAOs, so DeFi, so that's another level down. But yeah, be part of the community as well. So I believe that the community always have, if there's any news, or if there's any anything that's going on, the community will know first, or someone in the community will know first. And if you're part of the community, the news will just travel around. So I feel that it's very important for you to be part of the community.
Right, right. You work in a remote settings, and I'm curious, what are the essential skills for a software developer who work in, let's say, in remote settings?
I mean, apart from using certain tools a lot more compared to working in an office, uh, but they're not very tough to use. They're just software, right? They're just like Slack, Discord, Notions,
Hmm.
or Notions. So yeah, like using all these tools to support remote working, it is
Communications, right? Like all of that stuff.
yeah. And I don't think there's any like specific skill that you need, you know.
Do you think years of experience and computer science degree important for someone aspiring to work in tech or as a software engineer?
Yes, I do believe that it's important. And I think that is good because, like for me, if we talk about certain things like the different layer of network protocols, or when you go to a little bit lower level stuff, I don't understand. I need to go and read up on what the things like, what is a buffer, what is a U8, right? So what is a UTF-8, what is all this like, um how does the string actually work underneath? I think these are stuff that you will learn in university, in a CS degree. Therefore, it's a lot easier for you to pick up certain things. It's a lot tougher for someone without a CS degree because we don't have a very strong understanding of like of what is OOP, for example. Yeah, we do know like okay, there's all these like encapsulation, abstraction, all this kind of stuff, but it's I don't think it's our fundamentals is as strong as CS degree. However, if you're just looking at being a normal web developer, right, web designer, you just want to have create a nice website, things move around on click, these are very high level stuff, like Java TypeScript stuff. Those are very high level stuff. I don't think you need a CS degree for that. But if you want to start to move into more technical role, like either like setting up a simple program or backend stuff, I think that's where a CS degree might uh, help out a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, cool. Having a career in tech now, I think seems promising. And if you want to plunge into a very different world of, let's say, coding, we need to remember that it's actually more accessible, like you mentioned earlier, than ever. But it's not an easy option. There's a lot of challenge. So I want to ask
Yes.
you, what are the things to consider before switching career to the coding work?
But I think it depends on where you are in life right now. For me, it was a lot easier to make that switch because I wasn't in a better situation. Because if I decide to make a switch and I fail, okay, yeah, no, I just lose 3 to 6 months. That's fine, right? At least I took a shot, and the pros outweigh the cons. Hands down, in my situation, it's not like I was earning like 10K a month, right? And then I need to make a switch, and then I need to take a pay cut. Um, I was at there was only upside for me by taking this move. So I think it's a lot easier for me. So if you're in the same situation as I was, just do it. Like honestly, even if you don't like it and you don't do it, I still feel like taking the shot makes a lot more sense because the pros just outweigh the con. You may like it. If it turns out that you really like it, that's great. If not, well, learn something new. and at least you give it a shot.
Cool advice. Yeah, we almost jumped to our last questions. Do you have any word of advice for anyone aspiring to work in the software engineer world? Can you recommend us tips on taking a similar path to you?
Yeah, I mean, start learning on check out Free Code Camp, join a community. So there are a lot of free resources out there. If you're interested in like front end stuff, just yeah, Free Code Camp, Udemy, there's a ton of resource. A MetaCamp community, we actually put together a ton of resources for front end, back end, Web3. Yeah, it's just tons of free resources. We curated like a whole list of free resources and resources that we think that is really good. Yeah, feel free to check out that page, and yeah, and also to join the community as well, because I think is there are a lot of people that can just learn from YouTube, learn how to code from YouTube, sure, but I think there are a lot more people that try to learn from YouTube, but they quit halfway. So there are a lot of people that just uh, don't have that, because they don't have that accountability, or they may not have that um I wouldn't say drive, but they may not have that. I don't know if use the word discipline as well, but they maybe have some other distraction in life, or so I think having a community is really important, because we can keep you accountable. We can make sure that, hey, you're moving forward. So yeah, the alternative to that is to just pay for bootcamp. But then again, yeah, just pay for bootcamp, because when you pay they will make sure that you know you're learning. So that's an alternative. Yeah, free
Uh,
resources,
mhm.
join a community, or join bootcamp.
Right. So if people interested in joining MetaCamp, can you share us a little bit information like where people can find about MetaCamp?
Sure, do have you can head over to our website from metacamp.so. So that's metacamp, metacamp, and .so. So .so, so that's our website. You can head over to our resources page, and in our resources page, it's amazing. Like honestly, recently we just found out that we created a Solana developer playbook, and we just found out recently that it was being shared with uh all of Solana global summer camp. So basically, Solana organizes all this like hackathon. They call it summer camp. So yeah, it's being to shared all around the world, all their location. They are using our playbook. So we're like, whoa! I mean, it says a lot about like all the effort that we put in. I mean, it's all thanks to our contributors as well. Um, yeah, so go and check it out. It's a really good resource page.
Cool. We're going to give a quick link later on the description box. And yeah, one more last question. If anyone out there wants to connect in person with you, where can people learn more about you?
Yeah, I can head over to my LinkedIn. Yeah, LinkedIn, drop me a message over there. I'm in the crypto space, but I'm sort of like I'm not very active in Twitter, so I think that's a little bit not the norm I should be. But
Mm.
for those of you who reach out to me, you can head over to my LinkedIn at linkedin.com/in/Justin Lee YL.
All
Yeah, you
right,
can put it
Justin. All right. This has been a fantastic podcast interview. Thank you so much for sharing and being with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
I'm sure everybody was learned so many insights from your experience journey as well as the Metacam. Thank you so much. I'll see you next time.